I'm back on the homestead after 15 nights away. I'm happy to say that my homestead mostly took care of itself while I was gone. I did have some neighbors who had to come up and check on things a couple times for me just to make sure that everything was running smoothly and to feed my dogs and my chickens, but they only had to come up here about once every 5 days or so. It wasn't that big of a deal to have them do that, and it's not like I had to stress about having somebody come up here every single day and worrying about them having to take the time out of their day. I set up my garden on a timer. It's been on a timer all year for watering, and I will talk about how that worked out a little bit later in the video. I also set my horses up in an electric fence with an automatic watering system. So the only thing my neighbors had to do was feed the dogs and the chickens, like I said, about once every 5 days. So let's get into a little bit about why I was gone for 15 days and what kind of stuff I did while I was gone. And then I'm gonna give a walkthrough of some things on the homestead and how they fared while I was gone. Let's get into it. I'm really gonna miss this view. In the last 6 months, our family's life has drastically changed. My husband started a job that required him to work over 1,000 miles away from home for 6 to 7 weeks at a time, if not even longer. In order to make this work, we have had to plan a couple trips where I leave the homestead and go visit him. And it can be stressful leaving the homestead for multiple weeks at a time, but when you're driving 1,000 miles, you want to go for more than just a couple days to make it worth the drive. Being away from the homestead for multiple weeks at a time means that there are a lot of things that need to be taken care of before I can leave and know that everything will be okay while I'm gone. One thing I do is take any opportunity I can to help my neighbors out. I know that they help me out a lot and they are willing to watch the place while I'm gone, so when they're gone, I will milk their cow and do anything else that they ask me to do. It's just nice knowing that things will be taken care of while I am away. I've always been a homebody, and I've really had to step out of my comfort zone to drive thousands of miles alone with my kids, but it's been so worth it for all of us getting to see new things and getting to spend some time with my husband. We're pretty much taking our life one day at a time at this point because we don't really know what the future holds, but the most important thing is that we make time for our family to be together. And one of the reasons that I love being able to come visit him is that I get to keep doing my job as the homemaker for him. Even when we're 1,000 miles away from home, I can cook him meals and, take care of him and make him lunches, do his laundry, and just do the things that he shouldn't have to do when he comes home from a hard day at work. It just goes to show it doesn't matter if you are actually in your own home, you can still be a homemaker, and it could be things as simple as making your husband a lunch or cleaning, doing laundry, and maybe even making him some cookies. I mean, there's so many things you can do to make his life a little bit easier, and that is just one of the things that I love to do for my husband. He works very hard to provide for our family, so I have no problems with picking up the slack at home or wherever our home is at the time and just being the best homemaker that I can possibly be. We did make a point to go sightseeing on the weekends, and we did see a lot of cool things like Hoover Dam. If you've never been there, it is just so big, and that bridge is so big. It was very cool to see. We also got to see some unexpected weather that I did not expect to see in Las Vegas, but we had some torrential rain and thunderstorms, and it was actually pretty cool to watch. The storms down there are a little bit different than the storms that we have at home, so it was pretty cool to watch, although I was worried that there was going to be a monsoon or something because I know that is a true concern when you're out in the desert and you get lots of rain like that come on suddenly. So luckily nothing like that happened. It was just kind of cool to watch. Another thing that we do not have at home are cockroaches, and I got to see one of those for the first time, so that was not very cool, but there was a lot of cool things that we did get to see, like this fountain show, and there was some cool places that we took the kids. And Las Vegas, believe it or not, is very family friendly. There's a lot of things to do there with kids, and if I go back down there, I may end up making another video at some point about things that we can do with our kids, but just know that if you're going to Las Vegas with your kids, there will be plenty of stuff to do. Now that I'm home, it's time to walk around the homestead and see what has changed, what has maybe stayed the same, and see how everything fared while I was gone. I was not expecting to see how much these chickens had grown since I left. They were actually chicks when I left, and now they are borderline chickens. I don't know if you remember how small they were, but here's what they looked like before I left. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but they have really grown a lot, and there are several roosters. They are even starting to crow or try to crow in the mornings. It's actually pretty comical. Sherman is our little escape artist, and I kind of figured that he would be in and out of the fence while I was gone, but he wasn't hurting anything. He's just getting out, and I guess the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. I had the horses set up on this automatic water in the horse trough, and it works out really well. There's a float inside, and when it starts going lower, it just automatically starts filling up. You leave the hose on, and it worked really well. They are about out of grass, but I'm glad that the setup I had lasted until I got home. That way I didn't have to stress about it while I was gone. My garden actually did not fare as well as I expected it to. The weeds grew way faster than I had anticipated, and the water actually stopped reaching the plants because the weeds were blocking it. So in the future, I would definitely do things a little bit differently, but my fruit trees did pretty well while I was gone, and I didn't even have them on a watering system. They just got watered from whatever rain we had while I was gone, which I know was not very much. So I'm happy to see that they are still doing really well. We got home just in time for huckleberry season to be starting, and the berries are so big and juicy this year, and the bushes are loaded. So I'm gonna do a whole other video about some of the foraging that we do right down the road from our homestead, but I just had to share my excitement for just coming home and diving straight into berry picking season. And there's not just huckleberries, there's also wild strawberries, which if you haven't tried those, they are so delicious as well, and many other berries too. Now that we're home, we're going to be doing a lot of berry picking. We ended up getting enough to make a really good milkshake. So overall, I'd say everything went pretty well while I was away from the homestead for 15 days, and we had a great time together in Las Vegas as a family. We ended up spending the 4th of July there and just watching the fireworks from our house up on the hill. It was definitely something else, and it was an experience I will never forget. The fireworks were insane, to say the least, and they were just going off everywhere across the whole city. The pictures and videos do not do it justice, and it was a really cool experience for me and the kids and my husband. None of us have ever experienced anything like this before, and we do love it back home, but it is nice to get to do different things and explore the world and see things a little differently. So I was sad to have to leave. I was really excited to come home, but I was sad to leave my husband, and it's always hard the first couple days, whether it's me leaving or him leaving. It's always such a struggle, but every time we do get through it, and after a couple days, life goes on and we just get back to the grind. So I'm back at the homestead, taking care of everything that needs to be taken care of here, trying to fix my garden, and also just trying to enjoy the summer that we have here because it's very short, and before we know it, it's going to be over. But yeah, 4th of July in Las Vegas, 10 out of 10 recommend. I I'm so glad that I got to go visit my husband over 1,000 miles from home, but I am very glad to be home. It feels good to be here and know that everything went smooth while I was gone and just get back to some of the stuff that I was working on before I left. Thank you so much for watching my video, and if you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and leave me a comment if you have anything to say, and tell me about a time when maybe you left your homestead alone so you could go on a trip.